This happened on Halloween night a few years ago. It was one of the first years I stayed home instead of going out with friends. The neighborhood was packed with trick-or-treaters, porch lights glowing, the smell of pumpkins in the cold air. You could hear laughter echoing down the street, mixed with the sound of candy wrappers and footsteps crunching leaves. Around 8 o'clock, my sister stopped by with her little boy, my nephew. He was 5 at the time, dressed as a little vampire with fake fangs, a black cape, and plastic bat wings on his back. Before they went out, she asked me to take a few pictures of them in front of the house. I grabbed my phone, stepped outside, and took a few shots on the sidewalk. The last one was of my nephew making a scary face while my sister laughed behind him. A few kids were walking by across the street, nothing unusual. They left to trick-or-treat, and I went back inside. Later that night, my sister texted asking for the pictures so she could post them. I sent them all over, didn't think much of it, but a few minutes later she called me. Her voice sounded strange, almost shaky. She asked if I'd edited the photos. I told her number. Then she told me to look at the last one again, the one with my nephew pretending to scare the camera. I opened it. At first it looked normal. My nephew smiling with his fake fangs, my sister kneeling behind him. But in the background, across the street between two parked cars, there was another kid. They were wearing the exact same costume, same cape, same fake fangs, same tiny bat wings, even the same little pumpkin bucket. But this kid wasn't moving. They were just standing there completely still, facing the camera. Their skin looked gray, their mouth half open, and their eyes were pure black. No reflection at all, like two holes burned into the picture. I hadn't seen anyone like that when I took the photo. When my sister came by the next day, I showed it to her in person. She swore there hadn't been anyone across the street. None of the nearby houses had kids wearing that costume either. A few nights later, she told me something that made my skin crawl. Her son had been talking about the other vampire. She asked what he meant, and he said the other vampire didn't talk, just stood in the street watching while I took his picture. When she asked if he'd seen the kid again, he said no. But sometimes when he looks out his bedroom window at night, he still sees him standing across the street, not moving, just staring. I still have that photo saved. Everyone I've shown it to notices it right away. Two identical kids, same costume, same pose, but only one who was actually there. This happened on Halloween weekend 2 years ago. A group of my friends and I went to a pumpkin patch that had just reopened for the season. It was one of those places that's more about taking pictures than actually buying pumpkins. Hay bales, string lights, and fake cobwebs everywhere. We went at night since they had a Harvest Glow event where they lit up hundreds of carved pumpkins along the trails. There were families, couples, even a few kids running around in costumes. It felt like the perfect Halloween atmosphere. Cool air, the smell of cider, and distant music from the little food stands. My friend Megan was obsessed with taking pictures. She had her camera out the entire time, making us pose in front of decorations, scarecrows, and those wooden put-your-face-through-it photo boards. At one point, we stopped near a big stack of hay bales where people were posing. The lighting there was perfect, orange from the pumpkins and warm string lights overhead. Megan wanted a group photo. She set her phone on a small tripod and used a timer. We all huddled together, smiling, laughing, trying to look as festive as possible. The camera clicked a few times, flashing against the pumpkins. After that, we walked around for another hour or so before heading home. Nothing weird happened, just a normal Halloween night. The next day, Megan sent everyone the photos in a group chat. I scrolled through them casually until I got to the last one, the final picture before we left. Something about it felt wrong. It looked like all of us. 5 friends sitting on the hay bales, smiling, pumpkins glowing around us. But behind us, in the far back corner, near the edge of the light, there was someone else. A person crouched down, almost hidden in the shadows between 2 stacks of hay. At first, I thought it was a worker or maybe someone from another group, until I noticed what they were wearing. It was a hoodie, a dark gray one, and it looked exactly like mine. Same color, same small tear on the sleeve, even the same little patch my friend sewed on last year. But I wasn't wearing that hoodie that night. I had left it in my car. I zoomed in closer. The person's head was down, but you could see the hair. Same color as mine, same style. Their hands were resting on their knees, and their fingers looked pale, like the color had been drained out of them. I asked Megan if she noticed it when she took the picture. She said no, she didn't see anyone behind us. I asked if maybe someone had photobombed. She said the area was clear when she hit the timer. Nobody was even near that part of the patch. We checked the rest of the photos. The figure only appeared in that last one. Later that day, I went back to the pumpkin patch with another friend just to check it out. The spot where we took the photo was empty. The hay bales were still there, pumpkins still glowing, but in the dirt behind them, I noticed faint shoe prints, 2 of them, right where the crouched figure had been. The next weekend, I showed my parents the picture. My dad thought it was edited until he looked closer and realized it was taken from Megan's camera, not mine. He asked what time we left the patch that night. I said around 10:30. He frowned and said, "That's strange. They close at 10. Megan confirmed it later. She remembered the staff announcing they were closing around 10, but we hadn't seen anyone tell us to leave. We were still walking around taking pictures after that. That last photo was time-stamped 10:42 p.m., and there's no explanation for who or what was crouched behind us, wearing my clothes when the patch was supposed to be empty. This happened the Halloween before last. My friend Lucas and I were driving around late that night after handing out candy. We were bored and just wanted something to do. It was past midnight. Most houses had turned off their lights, and the streets were empty except for a few smashed pumpkins and fog from the cold. While driving through the older part of town, we noticed a house at the end of a dead-end street. It looked abandoned. All the windows were dark, the paint was peeling, and the yard was overgrown. But what made us stop was that the front porch still had Halloween decorations. 2 plastic skeletons sat on the steps. There were faded orange lights still plugged in, barely glowing, and a big sign that said, "Happy Halloween," hanging crooked on the door. It didn't make sense. The place looked like it hadn't been lived in for years, but the decorations were fresh, like someone had just put them up that day. Lucas joked that we should go check it out, maybe take some creepy pictures for fun. I hesitated, but curiosity got the better of me. We parked on the curb and walked up the path. The closer we got, the stranger it felt. The decorations were old, but not rotted, just dusty, like they'd been left there and forgotten. We stood on the porch for a second, shining our phone flashlights around. The front door was cracked open. Lucas said we should take a quick picture inside, for the memory, so I stepped just inside the doorway. The air smelled like mold and dust, but I could still faintly smell pumpkin candles. There were fake cobwebs on the ceiling, old candy bowls on the table, and a cardboard cutout of a clown in the corner. It looked like whoever lived there just left in the middle of Halloween night years ago. I lifted my phone and took one photo with flash. The light filled the room for a second, enough for me to see the furniture covered in sheets and the reflection of our lights on the far wall. We left right after that. We were creeped out, but laughing it off, making jokes about ghosts. The next morning I looked at the photo. It looked normal at first. The dusty living room, the decorations, the covered furniture. But then I saw something in the reflection on the far wall. It wasn't our reflection. It was someone standing behind us. The figure was tall, wearing a dirty clown mask and holding something long in one hand. You could see the folds of a faded Halloween costume hanging off them. I checked the photo details. It was clear. No blur, no double exposure. We were both visible near the doorway, but the figure was a few feet behind us, just standing there. I called Lucas right away. He said he didn't see anyone, didn't hear anything when we were inside. Later that week, we went back during the day. The decorations were gone. No skeletons, no lights, no sign. And the front door was sealed shut with wooden boards, like it had been that way for years. When we showed the picture to a few people, they all saw the same thing. The figure in the clown mask, faintly lit by the camera flash, standing right behind us. That photo was the last one taken on my phone before it stopped working. When I tried to upload it later, the image file was corrupted. The thumbnail still loads, but when you open it, it's just static. Every time I charge that old phone, the same thing happens.